fine. Say, wouldn't you like to know what's going on in my mind? So let me get right.
Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Tamer and welcome back to another episode of iTalk Tech. Now in this video, I'll be giving you my experience of using Samsung's latest flagship, the Galaxy S7 Edge, for over a week. Now many of the things I talk about today can also go for the Galaxy S7. So Samsung's latest flagship isn't a revolutionary new phone, it's more of a refinement of their previous model, the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge. Now this is not meant to turn you off in any way because it's been refined in many of the key areas that make this one hell of an amazing smartphone. So starting off, the design of the Galaxy S7 Edge is just strikingly beautiful. I can easily say, no doubt, that this is the most beautiful smartphone I have ever seen. The colored glass on both the front and the back give the Galaxy S7 Edge such a premium and high-end look. Now the curves on the Edge model give this phone such a sleek look that makes it look like the phone almost has no bezel at all, as well as the appearance and feel that it's super thin. Now, looking at the back of the device, as you can see, it's also curved, which helps when holding the device as it naturally contours to the palm of your hand. Now, with there being glass on the back, the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge suffers from an addiction to fingerprints. The back of the phone is constantly picking up fingerprints super quickly and can get annoying when you have to go and constantly wipe it off sometimes. But overall, it's a really great design. Now the build of the phone is also amazing as well. The phone doesn't feel overly slippery due to the curved back, but I still wouldn't trust myself holding it without a case. The glass on the back of the device kind of disappointed me in terms of scratch resistance. Now I'm thinking this only affects the part that's been colored on, because after the second day of owning this device, I already had 3 major scratches to the back of the phone, as well as some scattered scratches which really started to piss me off. I immediately put a case on the phone, but luckily I went with a really thin and clear case, that way the beauty of the phone is still showing, as well as adding some more grip to the phone. Now, the phone is actually very compact for such a big screen device. The build is overall just a bit smaller than the iPhone 6s Plus, and I'd actually kind of compare it a little bit bigger than the iPhone 6s. And it's actually kind of amazing that Samsung was able to pack such a huge 5.5 inch screen into the build of a smaller 5 inch device. Now, the display on the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge is unbelievably gorgeous. Now, the Super AMOLED display produces such rich colors and deep blacks that you cannot take your eyes off of it. The display resolution is Quad HD, meaning you're going to get a resolution of 2560 by 1440. I really truly believe that once you go to a Quad HD Super AMOLED display, you cannot switch back to anything else. It's just impossible. Everything else looks like a potato. Now, it being an AMOLED display means that the phone can turn off individual pixels and turn on individual pixels, allowing for deep blacks and better battery life. Now, with the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge, this gave us a new feature called Always On Display. Now, when the phone is locked, the display will light up some essential information, such as current time, notifications, and battery percentage. This feature really comes in handy, and I always leave mine on, and the battery doesn't take a big hit as well. I've only seen about a 1% drop in battery per hour, and sometimes even less than that. So while the features are still limited on the Always On display, it's still pretty useful. Now, the edges on the Galaxy S7 Edge also pack more functionality than last year's model. Now, for me personally, I only bought the Edge display because it made the phone look pretty slick. But it also gives you shortcuts to certain features, such as accessing People Edge, where you can access your most important contacts. There's also many other Edge panels that you can add on, such as weather and tasks, but I personally use the Edge panel's functionality somewhere between sometimes to often. I'm not constantly using it, but when it's there, I use it. Doing things such as quickly taking a note do come in handy, and easy access to some of my favorite applications like Instagram and Twitter is nice as well. Now, moving on to performance, the Galaxy S7 is a straight up monster. It's packing a Snapdragon 820 processor with 4GB of RAM. But just don't even worry about those specs or what they even mean. Specs mean nothing. Now, what really matters is real life performance, and I can truly say that this phone just flies through everyday tasks. Apps loaded up pretty quickly, and there was little to no lag at all. Samsung's Touchwiz Ui seems to have been skinned down pretty decently, and I didn't despise it as much anymore, but there's always themes and launchers that you can apply, which will make the phone feel much more like stock Android. RAM management also seems to have been improved incredibly on the S7, as I can see that I can load about 16 apps before the S7 has to start reloading apps, which is very impressive compared to the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge, where you would only load like 6 apps and it would start to refresh. So while not perfect, the typical user doesn't have more than 16 apps running at the same time. So in terms of practicality, the RAM management on the S7 seems to have been mostly fixed. Now gaming on the S7 Edge was also very impressive, as light to medium graphic intense games were able to play at a constant 60 frames per second. Heavy games like Dead Trigger 2 did take a small hit to the performance with around 47 FPS, but still very fluid and playable. Now, I know some people were talking about a heating problem, but I didn't notice a heating problem that much while playing intense games. But I did notice a small increase in the temperature, but nothing to the point where I would be uncomfortable in holding it. Overall, the Galaxy S7 is super quick, and I literally have nothing bad to say about the performance that I'm seeing. It's super fast. Now, if you haven't already seen my review on the Galaxy S7 Edge's battery life, I suggest you go take a look at it. The link will be in the description, and you can just click the box on the left that will take you there. But just to sum up my findings, I'm consistently getting around 6+ hours of screen on time on the Galaxy S7 Edge. Now, I don't know what the Galaxy S7's battery life is like, but I can say it's somewhere around there, even though it has a smaller battery at 3000 mAh compared to the S7 Edge's 3600 mAh. Now, I'm a pretty moderate to heavy user, so when I unplug my phone at 6 a.m. in the morning, I usually have about 30% left on the device by 11 p.m. Now, while this isn't enough to fill my next day needs, it definitely is an amazing all-day battery life. If you're a person that is a light to moderate user of your smartphone, I can see you easily getting about 2 days of usage on it. Power saving mode in the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge is just a monster, as it effectively minimizes power consumption. Now, while it does limit the CPU, I was actually kind of surprised at the relative speed of the device while in power saving mode. The phone was still very fast, and I experienced almost lag at all. Semi-graphic games like Temple Run 2 were still able to be played at 60 frames per second, and while on power saving mode, I was able to go through 2 full days of regular to moderate heavy usage and still have charge left over. So the Galaxy S7 comes with Quick Charge 2.0, meaning that I saw charge times from 0 to 100 within about an hour and a half. Wireless charging is also a nice feature to have again on the Galaxy S7, as it's super convenient, but just make sure to pick up Samsung's own wireless charger, as it also has fast charging technology, whereas cheaper chargers on Amazon take a whole lot more to fully charge. Now, the camera on the Galaxy S7 is just out of this world. Colors are slightly saturated, just like Samsung's cameras tend to be, but this time they're more refined and more realistic. I actually kind of like that semi-saturated look on the colors, as they seem to pop out more rather than looking dull. The picture quality is terrific, as the photos seem super crispy and the colors are very vibrant. Low-light photos on the Galaxy S7 are just straight up amazing. I mean, no other phone that I've ever used before, or even probably exist in the market, can take as amazing of low-light shots as the Galaxy S7 Edge does. Thanks to its f-stop of 1.7 aperture, the camera can actually capture a lot more light from its surroundings than most cameras on the market, giving you a clearer and less noisy picture. The autofocus on this camera is straight up ridiculous. It was much faster than laser autofocusing found in the LG devices. But using dual pixel technology, the Galaxy S7 can focus wherever you want in a matter of milliseconds. Video on the Galaxy S7 is also very good, and the amount of detail that the video captures is amazing. And being able to record in 4K is a great touch too. I was, however, slightly disappointed in terms of optical image stabilization, as Samsung's Smart OIS seems to be at times inconsistent and it's completely unusable while recording 4K footage. But other than that, the Galaxy S7's camera is top notch. Now, some honorable mentions of other things about this phone that I love is the IP68 water resistant feature that Samsung added back into the Galaxy S7. The S7 body has a water-phobic coating, which you can see by the way the water collects together on the screen. Samsung closed off many of the important parts of the device from water, but one place that water still does get into is that speaker port. The water gets into the speakers, and when listening to some music, the audio is very rough and often contains a lot of static. The water usually does go away after a couple of hours, but it's still a little annoying. The speaker, when not filled with water, is okay. It's not the best speaker I've ever heard on a smartphone, but definitely usable. So that wraps up my review of the Galaxy S7 Edge. And as I told you guys before, I've only used this device for 1 week, so I really can't give you this as my definite review. That will be after 1 month, where I'll give you guys my 1 month later review or my actual full review. Now, if you guys want to stay tuned for that one, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and make sure if you like this video to go ahead and drop a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.